Hello, I'm Chef Sandra Canela Ross. I teach at Miami Culinary Institute. I am the baking and pastry instructor. We are here tonight to make the fundamental doughs in baking and pastry. We are making tonight pâte de sucré. It's a sugar dough. It's a dough that we are going to be using a creamy method. Creaming butter and sugar, a little vanilla, a little orange zest or lemon zest. We're going to be adding eggs and then flour to make into a dough. With that dough, we are going to be making fruit tarts, and we can make cookies and some other stuff that we can make using the same dough. Then we're making pâte cuisée and pâte sablé. Pâte cuisée and pâte sablé, the difference is the sizes of the butter left inside the dough. Bigger the size of butter, more flakiness you're going to have in your dough. Smaller pieces of butter means that the dough is going to be a little flat and is more appropriate for those that don't need to be so light. So the ones that have only water is the dough that you want to bake something like an apple pie, that you have to cook the apple and have to cook for like 45 minutes, 1 hour. The doughs that you want to cook a little less with more eggs and stuff, it should have a lighter dough, not only flour, butter, and water. Okay? Usually we do not flavor the doughs. The doughs, they are only the vessel. They're only what they are holding. So they hold pastry cream, they hold frangipane, they hold pecan pie, pumpkin pie. They can hold anything that's a quiche or empanada or anything that goes inside. So we start making those many, many years ago. And it's funny, but probably we start with fermentation. We had, oops, I'm sort of boiling my water too much. I'm reducing, I'm cooking water. So we start having wheat in Egypt like 2,000 years ago. And by eating a little, like a little oatmeal, but it was really wheat, we have a little leftover. So they mixed that with water, they broke it a little bit, and they left by the river. So it was warm, and that started to ferment. And then they start to understand that fermentation was happening when something was left outside in a warm temperature to have it a culture of bacteria. They didn't think about bacteria because Pasteur was not until 1800 years after that, but at least. But what we learned is that we can make a paste from any sort of cereal or nowadays it's not a paste anymore. It's a pâte or a dough. Okay, so basically we could translate the pâte de sucre, pâte brisée, and all the pâte into a paste, even though they're more like a dough because they really have more body than just a paste. Okay, so we are going to start with the pâte de choux. Pâte de choux, we are able to make several productions with pâte de choux. It's a very simple dough to make. It holds very well. The only problem with pâte de choux is after you fill up the pâte de choux, it's going to get soggy in a few hours. So if you're ready to make your pâte de choux, make your pâte de choux. Leave it in the freezer in a little bag. When you need it, just leave it outside for like 15 minutes. Fill up with pastry cream or chantilly or anything you want, and you can serve it right away. Okay? So we can make, from pâte de choux, we can make profiteroles, we can make cream puffs, eclairs, like croquembouche. So we're going to be bringing water into a boil with butter. So I have butter, pinch of salt, pinch of sugar, and water. Then I'm going to bring to a full boil. And after it boils completely, I'm going to add my flour. I like to make my pâte de choux fresh, okay? It is very simple to make. It's just really boiling water and butter, and then adding the flour, and then adding the eggs. So it is probably about 15 minutes to make. If you want to make the dough itself and bake another day, we will deflate, okay? If you want to bake it off, it's a better choice, okay? In the fridge, you can keep it probably for a couple days, not longer than that, because also they're eggs. And eggs, they get spoiled. Okay, so now that I have my butter melted inside my water and a pinch of salt and a pinch of sugar, it should really not have a piece of butter. It still have some butter in here. Can you see it? Still have a little piece of butter. Just be sure that you don't have any more butter, okay? That is completely boiled inside the water. Now I'm gonna add all my flour. You're gonna see that some recipes will call for AP flour, some recipes will call for bread flour. You're gonna be adding all the flour and mixing in, okay? Just mix all the flour and you're gonna cook it a little bit. So the flour that I really like better for my pâte choux is a bread flour. Bread flour has a bigger or a more important protein content. That means that it will give me more structure. Bread flour is the flour that I use for making breads and brioche and Danish and croissant. So if I have a better flour, a better structure, I will have a puffy pâte choux. If I don't have it, my pâte choux is going to be sort of flat, okay? So don't stop moving. Okay, so when I finish, you see that it creates a little crust in the bottom. That's what you're looking for, okay? When that's formed, you're good with your pâte choux. Now, if you have a mixing bowl or a mixer, you're going to be adding the eggs. So I do have a paste, right? What's going to make this paste into something nice and light? Eggs, okay? The eggs, when I add the eggs are going to start creating some vapor or some steam, and will make my product to get a lot of expansion. So eggs are leaveners. They're natural leaveners. We have chemical leaveners like baking soda, baking powder, ammonium, and we have eggs that perform different functions. One is to give taste, nutritional value. It's to give coagulation, to release some steam when it's baking, and also it is another liquid, right? It's to sort of hydrate whatever dough you're making. Okay, so you're gonna transfer your pâte choux to a bigger bowl. So you have all your pâte choux, and you're going to be mixing it. I do have 10 eggs. Today, I went to get some extra eggs, and when I opened the box, they said extra large eggs. And in baking and pastry, we don't want extra large eggs, okay? We like large eggs. Usually eggs, they are about 55 to 60 grams, or 1.75 of an ounce or 2 ounces. And an extra large egg, it's not a lot when you use only one, but when you're using 10, it's probably about 10 grams each. So I'm adding another 100 grams, almost like another egg and a half or almost 2 eggs. So it's not a good idea to have any egg that's not large, okay? So I'm going to mix the eggs in my mixture one at a time. So we're doing one at a time. And every time that I add eggs to something, I create some sort of emotion. And it breaks, and we'll come back in a little bit. So when you see that the whole egg is not visible anymore, you just add another egg. This is not visible. One. Yay. Another egg. When I finish adding all my eggs, my dough is supposed to be shiny, flexible, and when I lift it, it's supposed to form a V. There's a V formation. I'm back to this because I think it's better. I'm just adding another one. Be mixing this. So we are going to be piping the pâte choux. We need a piping bag and a spatula. Another one. So piping bags. You can use disposable piping bags if you want. They're very nice. The problem with the other ones, as you see, even when you wash it, and this is clean, okay? Especially if you're working with chocolate, it really doesn't clean very well. To clean the spots of chocolate, especially the chocolate, you're gonna have to bleach it. And bleach and food, I don't think it goes okay together. Okay, so they are useful, but most of the time it's more convenient to have the disposable pastry bag. So I can use a tip according to whatever I'm making. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to be making pâte choux in the form of profiteroles and mini eclairs. Okay, so just get your bag, open up. Sometimes you could have something just to put the bag inside, but I'm fine. Bring this up. Let me see. Just lift it. Not yet. So I said to you that I'm looking for a V formation, right? So it's a little firm. Place your tip, bring this up, like so. So whatever you have inside is not going all the way down, okay? Nice job. A V like this. I could add another egg. If I add too much egg, I don't have how to fix it, okay? And I'm gonna have a very flat pâte choux that bakes with a lot of, it's really gonna look like a cabbage. Thank you. So bring this up. Don't fill up your bag all the way up, okay? They give you carpal tunnel. They give you a lot of bad things. So um, just maybe half of it, not even. So there we go. So most of the time, if I start from here and I go this way, look, I'm going to have pâte in my sleeve for tomorrow, okay? So most of the time, we're supposed to start from here down, okay? So about the same size, a little pressure. They're going to be very little. Not even. Not even. They're going to be very little. Profiteroles are nice to make with to serve with a little ice cream, hot fudge, or a ganache sauce, or caramel, or with Italian cream. So after I pipe the whole tray of pâte choux, I will come back with my hands, with my index, with a little bit of water, and I'll just get the little tail down, okay? But if I don't do that, the tail will be there after I finish baking. It's not a big deal, but you know, it's not perfect. I'm gonna leave a little bit for you guys to pipe. Oops. So we can also pipe mini eclairs. We could do Paris-Brest for, you know, if we have time to caramelize some sugar later, I'll try to make a little croquembouche. It's very elegant. Croquembouche is a wedding cake. Okay, so a few more. Yep. So with my hands clean, a little index, I'll have a little water and just try to kill the little tail. Okay. When it bakes off, the tail will be there. The same way here. Try to kill it. Yeah. So if I'm baking, sometimes I just want to serve fresh pâte choux or profiterole. I will come with the 10x sugar, and I'll give you 2 coats of 10x sugar. Okay, it makes it very nice. It doesn't caramelize because the 10x sugar doesn't caramelize, but it creates a little crust. We are going to be making pastry cream. For the pastry cream, we need sugar, butter, cornstarch, and a lot of eggs. Okay, so for the pastry cream, here I have sugar and cornstarch, and I have egg yolks. No, regular sugar, granulated sugar. The recipe, if the recipe says sugar, it's always granulated sugar. If the recipe says 10x sugar or powdered sugar, it's 10x. The recipe calls for brown sugar, we'll say brown sugar. So it is just like the case with the other part of sugar in here. It's just like the same case with the eggs. You know, eggs are always large eggs, except when it comes with the weight, so it can be a little different. Okay, so I'm making a paste with the eggs, the egg yolks, sugar, and the cornstarch. We are going to be doing a technique that's called tempering. Tempering is always tempering the hot liquid to the cold. Just like we temper chocolate, we temper pretty much all the sauces. We do not want the egg to coagulate right away, okay? Because if it does coagulate right away, it will break. Because in this case, I still have cornstarch and I have to cook it, right? So the first thing, I will be adding the boiling milk to this, a little bit at a time, and that will coagulate my eggs. The eggs will start coagulating about 145, and the final temperature should be about 180 degrees. You don't have to know that. It's just, you know, curiosity. So after I temper my eggs, I will have to cook the starch, right? And then I'll cook that just until it boils, bubbles, and we're done. Questions? So I'm not using any vanilla or anything to this. Later I'm going to flavor with a little bit of maybe Grand Marnier or something like that, okay? If I'm infusing with something, I could be infusing with the basil or rosemary or mint or anything that I wanted, a reduction, a fruit juice or something. I would do the infusion with hot milk, let it sit for a while, and then bring it back to a boil, strain it, and proceed with the recipe. Did you guys get that? Like if I want to make with cinnamon, right? I will have the cinnamon inside the pot when the milk boils until it gets the flavor. I will discard the cinnamon just by sifting it or straining it, and then I'll proceed with the recipe. So pastry cream is considered the mother sauce in baking and pastry. Okay, you use pastry cream. You can just serve pastry cream with fresh fruits if you want. You can use pastry cream with any sort of fruit tart, any sort of fruit, any sort of bread, croissant, Danish dough. You can make a nice sweet bread. So they're used for pastry cream in pretty much everything in baking and pastry. Okay. Crema patissiera is the same. Yes. She's asking me about the name. It's crème pâtissière or pastry cream, crema pasteleira, creme de confeiteiro. I forgot in Japanese, but anyway. No, I should be adding, if I'm using vanilla bean, I have to scrape the bean and put it in this point because it's where I infuse, right? I'm not using vanilla bean. I'm using probably Grand Marnier later, okay? If I flavor the whole pastry cream right now, it will be the whole pastry cream with one flavor, and I might want to have different flavors. If you want to chocolate your pastry cream, you can add either cocoa powder, or you can add a little bit of chocolate, okay? Most of the time it's nice. We pastry chefs, we really like 100 grams of this, 200 grams of that. But, some people go by taste. So if you make a little quantity of pastry cream and you want a flavor, by taste, it's okay. Chocolate, unsweetened chocolate, you can use unsweetened chocolate, or you can use milk chocolate or white chocolate, any chocolate you want, okay? It's better if it is a couverture. It's not regular chocolate, like a nicer chocolate, okay? Told you she was there. Okay, so just bringing this to a boil. It will take about 10 minutes just to boil. What's the boiling temperature? 212 degrees, okay? So if I cook my eggs to 212 degrees, I will curd my egg immediately, okay? You know when you cook some eggs at home and they dry out? The dry out means that inside the egg is a lot of liquid, a lot of water. if you overcook it, if you expose too much to the temperature, we will start we start to curd. We start just the water will come out completely. We will start separating from the egg protein. So I have the boiling liquid, and you're going to temper. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So now I don't want, before I had it in high, now I want it medium because my eggs are coagulated and I just want to cook my starch. If I just have the temperature too hot, thank you, I will really overcook my eggs. So just medium. So don't stop moving, otherwise you create lumps. So this process is about a minute, minute and a half. So now I know that I have no lumps. I'm just finishing cooking the starch. I could be using flour as well, okay? I like the flavor of the cornstarch better. We're gonna add the butter, and then later I'm gonna add the flavor. Or I could add it right now, okay? Just mix. Some people don't like the flavor butter. Just mixing. It's gonna be shiny and light. If you fill up anything with something warm, will damage the dough, okay? Will become soggy very, very fast. Because there's still this is water evaporating, right? So I need to let the water evaporate completely before adding to something. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.